Hi, this is Jonathan Butler from My Fit Mind, and today I am talking about a subject that affects millions of men, but only a few people are talking about. I am talking about premature ejaculation, or PE, and as many as 1 in 3 men will suffer with this issue at some point in their lives. So if you are struggling with this, or maybe your partner's struggling with this, you are not alone. They are not alone. And in my work as a hypnotherapist and RTT therapist, this is one of the most common problems that people come to me for help with. And the good news is that for the majority of people, you do not have a physical issue. It is not a medical issue. For most people, it is an emotional issue, a thought, a fear, a worry that's got stuck in your mind. So if you're in that place right now where you are in that fear, in that worry, and if you'd like to get in that place where you are carefree, where you have great sex, where all of that fear and worry is behind you, watch this video for the next few minutes to learn more about what the options are available to you and how this can help. Majority of people, PE is not a medical condition. It's not a physical issue. It's not about lack of testosterone. Often it is not about any problems with your anatomy. It's not about having an oversensitive penis. All those things that we'll come up with, we think that it might be. More often than not, it is one of these 3 things. It is performance anxiety, fear of failure, and conditioning. And performance anxiety is when you become so worried about whether you will perform, how you're doing, you start to set off this anxiety about your performance. And one of the ways that performance anxiety will manifest itself is by coming too quickly, by ejaculating before you're ready to, getting it over with because you can't control it. It can also show up as not being able to get aroused or losing your erection, or for some people as well, quite common also, is actually not being able to ejaculate. Almost the opposite end of the scale. But again, that is a type of performance anxiety behind that. And these things lead to this fear of failure, because when you've had some experiences that haven't been good, you start to get this fear of failure, this expectation of failure. You worry, what will happen if it doesn't work next time? What will happen if I come too quickly? We start to move into that mode. And when we do that, it does become that self-fulfilling prophecy, and it happens again and again. And the final point, the final example is one of conditioning. Now, if you grew up with shame or guilt around sex, maybe it was religious beliefs, maybe it was cultural beliefs, maybe it was your parents' view of sex. I had a client who I worked with who what came up in our sessions, what he remembered in our sessions to help him overcome his problems, was that his mother had always told him that women didn't like sex and you had to get it over with as quickly as possible. And he heard this as a child. And of course, this conditioned him, because we take on board these thoughts and beliefs in our early years, even before our sexual maturity years. Then of course, if we have an experience during our adolescent years where maybe we come through masturbating, maybe we come very, very quickly, then partially because we're excited, but also because of the fear of being caught. You have to get it done quickly. Maybe the first time you're with a girl, you're so excited that it happens quickly. Maybe it happened in a car or in their parents' house, where again there's this need to get it over and done with quickly. That experience becomes conditioning, becomes something that becomes normalized for you, even though you're not in that same rushed or environment or that lack of privacy that you had when the problem first began. So your subconscious mind takes on board these things, the performance anxiety, the fear of failure, the conditioning that you had, and this leads to a manifestation of sexual performance issues, one of which being PE. And this is where hypnotherapy comes in, because these thoughts are in your subconscious mind, this part of your mind that is running on autopilot. You're not choosing to do this, but when you're in that sexual situation, when you're in that place, your subconscious mind is kicking in with that conditioning, that fear of failure, that performance anxiety, which means you've got to get it over with as quickly as possible so you don't get caught, or whatever the reason behind it is. So hypnotherapy allows you to reprogram that mind, that software, that program that's running, to tell you that you don't have to come too quickly, that you can last longer, that it's safe to last longer, that it's far more enjoyable to last longer. So how does hypnotherapy or hypnosis actually help with PE? So what you need to understand is that you have two minds. You have your conscious mind that you think with, and you have your subconscious mind, which is that part of you which is making you do things on autopilot. So this is where that program of thought that is causing your PE, that it's thinking it needs to do that for some reason, this is where that is sitting. This is where it's happening in your mind. It is doing it automatically. So what hypnosis allows you to do is to get into an altered mind state. And it's not like some magical altered mind state. It is going into a deeper mindset, a mind state called a theta state, which is something that you do naturally, but only at very short periods of time, especially when you're an adult. So what hypnosis allows you to do is to create that theta mind state where your mind is receptive to suggestion, where your mind is open, where you have more clarity of thought, where you can see things more clearly, and where you can basically absorb the new things you want and let go of the old things that you don't want. So you can literally plant and embed that new program of thought that you want to have about lasting longer, about letting go of the performance anxiety, letting go of any fear there. So hypnosis and the techniques used under hypnosis of hypnotherapy allow you to break those patterns and create a new response to that stimuli, to totally take you from that place where you don't want to be, where you can't last, where you don't expect to last, where you expect things to last, where you can last, and where you are feeling in control, satisfied and happy with your sex life and all the great things that will come with that from your relationship. Now, hypnosis, hypnotherapy has that power. But what I do with people is I make sure that what we're going to do really does last, that it really does embed very, very deeply. Now, for some people, simple hypnosis and hypnotherapy may not be enough. When these issues are very, very deep rooted, what we need to do before we get into that classic hypnosis, hypnotherapy of giving you those suggestions is to actually take a step back and understand why this is happening. Really get to the root cause of it. Understand why this is going on for you. And when we understand where it's coming from, what the issue is all about, your mind is then more of a blank canvas to take on board the new thoughts, the new patterns, the new programs that you want. So think of it like this. I could use hypnotherapy, hypnosis to put in place a new program alongside that existing program that you've got, trying to push that out of the way. But what I like to do, because it's even more effective, is to use RTT therapy. RTT is a type of hypnotherapy that's a more comprehensive approach where we first of all identify that old unhelpful program, then we remove it, we clear the space for this new program, and that new program is running there, purely running there without any of the past encumbrances. And this means that it's even more likely to be effective, even more likely to be long lasting. So that is why for many people I would suggest doing the RTT type of hypnotherapy, because it's literally clearing out everything from the past before we put in that new program. So what can you expect from doing RTT hypnotherapy for PE? And the first thing that people typically find is that they feel like they've got clarity. They have got a breakthrough. They understand what this is all about. Why has this been happening? Why haven't you been able to control your ejaculation? That is really, really critical, and it's something that people nearly always get doing RTT hypnotherapy. And when you've got that aha moment, when you go, I get it, I understand now why that happened, and give you examples of that, I worked with somebody who had this happening for them, and what came through as the breakthrough in doing the RTT for PE was they went back to some memories, this regression where I take people back to work out the root cause. They went back to some early sexual memories. I remember working with one client where the sexual memory was being in the bedroom and being fearful of the parents or a brother walking in on them, and there was just this need to get it over and done with quickly. Another occasion, it was somebody who was sat in a car park, and again the same thing, worried about being caught. And so all these kind of things, there can be very different reasons for it, but people get that breakthrough. They go, yes, I know now why this has happened. And then the second thing, having got that breakthrough, is that people see and they subconsciously understand, not just consciously understand, that whatever reason they took on board this belief, it has simply become a habit or a thought that's got stuck, and they are actually safe to let go of that thought. They're safe to let go of that thought. So maybe now, if you were that person who the problem all started because of the fear of being caught, you realise that actually you've got your privacy, you control who comes into your house, you don't need to rush things. So people get that breakthrough, they get that recognition that it's safe to let go, that they can let go of that issue. And the third thing that often happens for people, nearly always happens for people, is that they have more sexual confidence. Instead of being fearful about what might happen in the bedroom, they start to be optimistic, excited, to just expect good things to happen. And what also often happens is that people don't just feel more confident sexually, but they quite often feel more confident in various aspects of their lives. Maybe they feel more confident day to day in social situations, in your personal relationship with your partner. So it branches out into other areas of confidence and performance anxiety. And what happens quite quickly, usually within 2 to 3 weeks, is that you've suddenly moved from having an expectation that things aren't going to work, that it's going to turn out badly, that you're going to come too quickly, into an expectation that it's going to last, that it's going to be pleasurable, that everything's going to be good, that you are excited and looking forward to the act. And that happens literally in the space of 2 to 3 weeks for most people. And people ask me as well, what are the probabilities of getting success from this? And my experience of this is over 90% of people will get rid of this problem in between just 1 and 2 sessions. Now, of course, I always advise you to check out anything medical, because I'll always ask you about that before you come to me. Check that there's no known medical reason for this. And even if there is a medical reason, it may well be related to a physical condition. But make sure that you're in good shape, that you understand what is going on behind the scenes there, and we can discuss that and work out what is the best plan for you. And so who is this for? Well, it's for any man who wants to last longer, any man who wants to move on from having this issue. That is who it's for, whether you're 18, whether you're 25, whether you're 40, whether you're 60 or 70. This can affect people of any age. You simply need to want to overcome it, be willing to try something that's a little bit different, and do the little bit of homework that I give you, which is obviously coming to the session with me and listening to the hypnosis recording that I will make for you over that 14 to 21 days to make sure that what we do in the session really does deeply embed and just become that habit of thought, habit of action, habit of expectation. Now, I understand that many people have a misunderstanding, false impressions about hypnotherapy and what it is and how it works. So I'd just like to give you the reality of some of these now. So here are some of the questions that I typically get asked, things that maybe stop people from trying this really incredible, powerful therapy. So the first question that people ask is, will I lose control? Are you going to make me say or do things that I don't want to do? And the answer to that is absolutely no. I am not taking control from you, I am giving control to you. When you're in a state of hypnosis, you are in a heightened state of awareness. You can clear out all that noise, all that clutter. You can work out what's going on, and you're clearing all the noise, all the friction, all the things that are getting in the way of you taking on board these thoughts, feelings, responses that you want to have. So I'm actually giving you control. And anything that you tell me in a session is, of course, completely confidential between us. It doesn't go beyond there. And you are in total control, and you'll come away with these changing beliefs, with that recording, which is going to give you and help you create those habits of thought that you want to have. So you are absolutely not losing control. And ultimately, I'm giving you control of your mind, giving you control of your sexual function. So it's absolutely giving you control. And I know that people ask me, is it safe? And yes, it's absolutely safe. You can't get stuck in hypnosis. You can't be made to do anything you don't want to do. It literally is a very powerful but very safe methodology. And literally, I'm just getting you into a mindset to give you the things that you want. You cannot get stuck in it. You can't be made to think, feel things that you don't want to do, because you'll only accept what I'm telling you if they're things that you want to accept. Now, people ask me, can this be done online or should it be done in person? Of course, it's a personal choice, but I strongly recommend that for any kind of anxiety related issue, for nearly everybody, it is actually better to do it online than in person. Now, a lot of people are surprised by that. And here's the reality, not just for sexual performance issues, but any anxiety related thing. Generally, people are more comfortable in their own home. You can be in your bedroom, on your bed, on your sofa, wherever you want to be in your own space. You don't have to go to a new place. You don't have to be face to face with me or with somebody else across the room. You can simply be on the other side of a screen now. So for many people, I suggest do it online. And by going online, of course, you can get the right person, not just the person who happens to be most local and most convenient to you. You can get the right person literally there in your home environment where you do feel totally comfortable and safe. So there's no magic that happens person to person. It is simply about the words and the pictures and the skill of the hypnotherapist. There's nothing that can be done in person that can't be done online. So you can do it in person, you can do it online, but I recommend most people work online because you're going to be more relaxed and because you can just get the best person for you. And how many sessions are likely to be needed? Because many people are sick of being in therapy where you go along and talk for weeks and months. You typically need 1 or 2 sessions with me, and I'll advise you on what you need if you were to speak to me, but typically 1 or 2 sessions for most people is all they need. So if you are suffering from PE, you don't have to suffer in silence. You probably don't need to take pills. You can simply understand what's going on, change your thoughts, replace that program of thought, and move from that place of fear and concern, maybe even avoidance, to being in that place where it is just the most natural, enjoyable, wonderful thing. And you can get there in literally 1 or 2 sessions. Hypnotherapy is effective for this. RTT therapy, advanced type of hypnotherapy, is even more successful. So if you're ready to gain your sexual confidence, maybe gain wider confidence, check out if this is for you now. So there are various ways, of course, that you can do this. You can find somebody who is close to you, somebody who is local to you. Obviously, you want to look out for somebody who is specialist in this area, because this is quite a niche thing for a therapist, a hypnotherapist or an RTT therapist to work with. Not everybody works in this space, not everyone's experienced or comfortable to work in this space. If you'd like to work with me, I offer a free, confidential discovery call where I will advise you on whether I can help you, how many sessions you'll need, and answer any specific questions for you. So if you would like to book that free call with me, just check in the link down below, in the description down below. you will see a link to be able to schedule a free initial 30-minute call with me where we can discuss the help that you need and how I can help you. So don't suffer anymore. Make that appointment now. Change your life, change your sex life. You won't look back.